Wait a minute. So you mean to tell me you pay rent, your ceiling's falling in, there's mold on the walls, and when you complain about it, they call you a squatter? No, somebody's lying. What's up, family? Welcome back to the Insider Scoop Report. If you're new here, do me a favor. Go ahead and subscribe, smash that like button, and also share the video and drop your city and state in the comments because I gotta know, do y'all got landlords pulling stunts like this where you live? Today, we're headed down to Southwest Atlanta, where some tenants are fighting for their homes and apparently fighting to prove they're not squatters. Let's get into it.
In this condemned Atlanta apartment complex say they're now left with no place to go. We first told you about the problems at Bolden Townhomes in Southwest Atlanta in June. The owner faced several code enforcement violations, but the property then went into foreclosure. Channel 2's Aaron Rodgers talked to former tenants who feel like they've been left hanging.
Trying to do our best to flip our life around.
But Montavious Bond says that's been hard ever since his family had to leave their Bolden Townhomes apartment.
We was hot, mold, ceiling fell in, and it's like, that's not fair at all.
So check this out. The folks living at Bolden Townhomes say they've been through it. And of course, clearly, from what you can see here, they have. We're talking about no electricity since the day they moved in, ceilings collapsing like you see here, water standing in the hall, and mold spreading like it pays rent. And after all that, the landlord's response wasn't to fix anything. It was to label the tenants as squatters. Yeah, that's what we're doing now.
I first showed you issues at the apartments back in June. After our report, the city and nonprofits stepped in and helped leaseholders with temporary housing.
They transferred us to a hotel. We was in a hotel by like a month or two.
They thought they'd be able to move back into their unit after the former owner, Bolden Capital Group, made the repairs from the code enforcement violations. But the property went into foreclosure and the repairs were never made.
Real quick, what would y'all do if your landlord stopped fixing things and then turned around and said, you don't even live there legally? I'd be losing my mind. So before we get into the second news clip where it gets crazy, the tenants say that they've been paying rent, some through housing vouchers, others out of pocket, but when they complain about the conditions, management stopped answering their calls. Then, out of nowhere, people started getting letters taped to their doors saying that they were trespassing under Georgia's new squatter law. No court order, no eviction notice, just a plain paper taped up by somebody in the office. And I'm sitting here like, hold up. How are you going to take somebody's money and then act like they've never supposed to be there? Has it ever happened to y'all or somebody that you know? A landlord taking your rent but not giving you a lease? Because I feel like this is not the first time that I've heard this type of scam. Let's get back into this.
It's stressful, and it's not right. We ain't even got no clothes. We don't have no shoes. Everything got boarded up, and they threw all our stuff out.
The property did give out some money.
Relocation assistance. They'd agree that we leave the property. They'd give us $3,000.
But not everyone got it, including the Vaughns. When they showed up, they were told there was no more money.
Completely unacceptable. Let's go into this second news clip where a woman told reporters that her lease didn't even have her name on it. And then another one said she never got a lease at all. She just paid rent every month to the so-called property manager, who later disappeared, like vanished. Gone with the wind and with the rent money. And those same people came home one day just to find all of their stuff sitting outside. No judge, no paperwork, just a note saying, leave immediately.
No power.
We haven't had no power since we've been here.
That's why tenants first contacted me about issues at the Bolden Townhomes on Oakland Drive.
It's all black. We have cold water.
They showed me where their meter boxes should be, empty holes instead. Tenant after tenant invited me in, showing me other problems.
Hey, let's be real. Do y'all think Georgia's new squatter law is actually helping landlords or giving them a free pass to keep people out when they feel like it? Because to me, it is starting to sound like that. It's starting to sound like they're giving this type of law to be able to just kick people out whenever. And it's wrong. And the legal part that's tripping people out is that Georgia just passed this new squatter law earlier this year, and it basically lets landlords remove people faster if they can't prove that they have a valid lease or permission to be there. And now, if you think about it on paper, that does sound reasonable. You don't want real squatters taking over your house. It's cool. But in this situation, this is a real problem. What happens when a landlord is the one who never gave you a lease or took your rent under the table? Now you can't prove you live there legally, even though they've been cashing your checks. So, in the eyes of this particular law, it looks like you're the one that's trespassing. Make that make sense. Let's get back into the news clip.
The legal standard right there, it dropped down.
The tenant who lives in this unit told me she can barely take a shower because her ceiling has been leaking like this for 2 months now, and her floor stays a constant puddle.
Moles growing in, they do not like to fix nothing over here.
On Thursday, I called the property owner, Edward Bolden. I only had a chance to ask about the power situation. He told me it wasn't true, said he'd send documents, then hung up on me.
Wow, this says a lot. Quick question. Do y'all think this law was really meant to protect landlords, or do y'all think that they're just using it as a weapon against poor tenants? Because it does look one-sided, and the community was outraged. Social media has been on fire over this one. Folks online are saying that this is another way to push out working class black families and voucher holders. People are commenting everywhere, saying things like they're criminalizing poverty, not squatting. And honestly, they may be right, because let's keep it 100. If this happened somewhere in like Buckhead or Midtown, then you'd be on the evening news every night. But because it's happening in the Southwest, they think nobody's paying attention. How many of y'all think that this kind of stuff gets ignored because it's happening in lower income black neighborhoods? Do y'all think race and class plays a role in how these laws get enforced? And get this, the company Bolden Townhomes and Bolden Capital Group, they already have been hit with multiple lawsuits. But I do want to quickly go with you some complaints that I saw online. 4 reviews, all one. This one here says, "Don't move here. Total eyesore with window, AC, and units. They refuse to fix the AC in. Does no landscaping. Grass is tall as the mailboxes. Broken blinds in windows and barely fixed things. Also flooded with stray cats. Just a total mess." That is ridiculous. Then this one is pretty long, but I will pretty much read some of it. Run. This place is run by some lords. They will advertise apartments, and it will be nothing like that. My floor is sunken in, and I do not have working air conditioning. It's been 95 degrees in my unit since I got it. I have not been able to get any property managers to respond to me in regards to getting it fixed. The only thing they emailed me about is rent. And I haven't been able to live in the house since I moved there. I've contacted my lawyer, and I absolutely plan on suing. And I hope that nobody ever wastes their time or their money moving into such a pitiful property. And then these were the last two, where they pretty much explains the same thing, that the place is a dump. All of the apartments are boarded up, no one's living in them, and no one answers maintenance requests, and they're very unprofessional, and they don't pay the water bill, and even the Atlanta Water Company shut the water off. That is crazy. Now with the tenants complaining about the illegal evictions and the fraud, when WSB-TV reached out to the owner, as you just saw, the dude literally hung up on her mid-interview. And like I said, it's ridiculous in it, but it tells you everything that you need to know right there. If you can't defend your business on camera, then you're already guilty in the court of common sense. But why do y'all think landlords get away with this kind of stuff? Is it because tenants don't know their rights, or because the system is designed to protect people with the property instead of those renting it? And if you think about the situation, it's not just about Bolden Townhomes. This stuff is happening everywhere. You got landlords taking rent money through Cash App and Venmo, refusing to give receipts or leases, and then when tenants speak up, they get labeled as troublemakers, or as now as we know, squatters. And the sad part is most of these folks are low income, working class people just trying to have a roof over their head. But when the laws are written for the powerful, guess who ends up out on the street? So thinking about this, what do y'all think needs to change? We need stronger tenant protection laws or better enforcement for these slumlords who play games like this? Drop your ideas because I want to hear them. And also, there is a GoFundMe that the family has up. Here it is. And you can help this family out because clearly this is a legitimate situation. So this is their GoFundMe. Need help to move out of unliving conditions. Um, and this is hosted by Angela Vine, just in case those of you want to go and help them out. And helping them out, I'm definitely sure they will be grateful for that. So let me circle back one more time about this. You're in this situation, right? You complain about the mold, you complain about water leaks, and instead of getting it fixed, they slap a squatter label on you and throw your stuff outside. Make it make sense, Elena. These folks don't want justice, they want silence. And as long as we keep letting landlords like this weaponize the law, it's going to keep happening. But again, drop your thoughts below. Do you think Georgia's new squatter law is fair? Or is it just another way to push out poor tenants and voucher families? And if you've ever dealt with something like this, share your story in the comments. You never know who you might help. And like I said before, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, share this video because people need to know what's really going on out here. Again, this is Insider Scoop, and trust me, we're going to keep shining light on stuff like this. Stay safe, stay loud, and I'll see you in the next one.